Good evening. This is CTV News for March 3rd. I'm Patricia Vallone. Topping our news tonight, election season kicks into high gear with primaries being held from coast to coast. It's Super Tuesday, where a third of the much-needed delegates are in play. Byron Scott has our story.
I'm Byron Scott at a polling location in Arlington. Today, of course, is Super Tuesday. Voters in 14 states go to the polls, and more than 1,300 delegates are up for grabs. This was the scene at Arlington Traditional School in Arlington, Virginia this morning. Elections officials report no long lines, but a steady stream of voters eager to have their say-so.
I wanted to express my views on who should be the Democratic nominee.
With recent dropouts, Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Tom Steyer out of the race, that leaves Biden, Sanders, Warren, Gabbard, and for the first time on the 2020 presidential ballot, Michael Bloomberg.
I think he should have gotten in sooner. I think that a lot of people sort of had their interest piqued when he entered the race, but so much has happened since then that I think people are sort of losing interest.
What makes Super Tuesday so special is what's at stake. 15 million voters in 14 states and American Samoa are heading to the polls. In the mix, a broad spectrum of American society. 34% of all delegates are up for grabs. For Democrats, this is their goal, and what they hope is the return to civility in the public discourse.
I don't like to hate Trump. I don't like any of those signs I see. I would never participate in that. I think that's one of the reasons I want to change. So let's just say he goes. That will eliminate a lot of that problem. I would hope that somebody would get in there that would make all of us in this country look a little better. Not necessarily Christian or anything like that, but just to have a better mindset every day and get rid of this hate and anger.
Virginia is an open primary, meaning any and all registered voters can cast a ballot. Republicans in Virginia are not holding a primary. And for Democrats, the experts say it comes down to who can defeat Donald J. Trump.
So I'll be voting for Bloomberg.
Biden. Warren.
That is what I was torn about going into the booth, and all I know is I'm going to rally behind whoever gets the Democratic nomination. So.
As for winners and losers, that may take some time. Polls out west close at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. As for the Maryland primary, that is set for April 28th. In Arlington, Virginia, Byron Scott, CTV News.
And as Byron just mentioned, Maryland's primary will take place on April 28th. Well, the coronavirus death toll in the U.S. is rising. Officials report tonight that 9 people have succumbed to the virus, all in Washington state. Here in the D.C. region, leaders are preparing for possible exposure. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks is encouraging residents to take preventative measures to stop the spread of respiratory illnesses. She recommends avoiding contact with people who are sick and suggests that you disinfect frequently used objects and surfaces. Meantime, in the district, Mayor Muriel Bowser says there are no confirmed cases in Washington, D.C.
Just yesterday, I directed $500,000 from the district's contingency cash reserve fund to order personal protective equipment and other necessary supplies for our first responders and frontline staff. This morning, we placed another order for necessary equipment.
We want to encourage our residents to seek health care if they believe that they have been exposed to COVID-19 because of their travel history, or if they believe that they have signs and symptoms. It is critically important to make sure that you call ahead before going to a healthcare provider, as that is one of the key ways that we will have the possibility of containing the spread of the virus and the cause of disease in other individuals.
And here in Maryland, the state health department reports that 13 patients in the state have been tested for the virus. However, there are no confirmed cases. Well, on the heels of a fatal hit and run in Forestville, AAA Mid-Atlantic releases some startling statistics. The Auto Club says an average of 682,000 hit and run crashes have occurred each year since 2006, and the number of deaths from those crashes has increased nearly 7% since 2009. So far, there have been 7 hit and run fatalities in our region this year. Spokesperson John Townsend says, quote, "While no one likes being involved in a crash, leaving the scene will significantly increase the penalties for drivers, whether they cause the crash or not."